convince anyone. Anyone who's a tree hugger is going to agree. And everyone who is not is going to give me all the reasons why I'm wrong. That's okay. We talk all day and tell me all the reasons I'm wrong. I don't think I am. And if I am, so what? I'm still breathing. You're still breathing. We're still in this together, still listening to me. So, yeah, I just don't get having one side or another and not doing an analysis. That's what people come here, not for exclusives, not to be right, just for the analysis. And we could be right or wrong, but I think I'm right. So I kind of got there this way. In a way, look, my thought process that has got me here after taking a minute is kind of the same way I got to saying last season that Melissa was 100% not coming back. It has nothing to do. I don't feel bad about anything I said about Melissa. I stand by the fact that she kissed Nick in the back of the car. Who cares? That's neither here nor there. Look, I think that, I mean, it's nothing personal. I just think that to me, last season was Teresa versus Melissa. We ended with a reunion where Teresa said, good luck. Melissa said, where am I going? Teresa said, you're leaving the show. I understand why I predicted that Melissa would 100% not be back. I don't even think she did anything wrong. I just was under the impression, and I'm going to waver on this a little bit later in this chat, but last season, I stand by the fact that they would never get rid of Teresa. I stand by that statement. And therefore, I'm like, these people have just said they will never speak to each other again. How could we have both of them back? And I truly think the pause that Bravo had wasn't a long pause. They tried to put everyone's name on the board and figure out going forward, what should they do? And getting rid of certain people like Melissa didn't seem any better than just bringing everybody back to wrap up last season, close everything up, and see what happens. So, in retrospect, I understand why they brought everybody back, but I didn't agree with it at the time. I see why they got there 100%, but I didn't agree with it at the time. And I think a lot of people don't agree with it now because we just spent an entire season wrapping up season 13, talking about Vanessa and Laura and all this shit. So we spent 13 weeks with a watch party to wrap everything up and John Fuda and the baby mama. It's like, if you just ripped the Band-Aid off and dealt with the problem last season, like I was suggesting, and it's not about me being right, and it's not even like Melissa should go over Teresa, but under the guise that they're just not going to get rid of Teresa from a corporate point of view, which I'm going to get into, I was like, we have to get rid of Melissa because they're not speaking. And I see why they didn't do that because that wasn't really like, how would you know? Well, now we know that this doesn't work. And I don't necessarily think Melissa should lose her job over Teresa, but it also doesn't matter. And we'll get into that. It's just she is going to, and life isn't fair, and corporations aren't fair. And we'll get into that as well. So that's how I got to Melissa not coming back. They brought everyone back just to, why not? Because that looks no worse than getting rid of Melissa, and she didn't really deserve to go, and she doesn't. But here we are, and now we have a shit season. So that's how I got to that, and that's how I'm getting to this now. Is that, I mean, we have been watching Teresa now since Melissa came on the show for over a decade. And she has been saying that, you know, I'm a happy person. She's done some interviews where they brought up her new podcast. She's done some interviews where they brought up House of Villains, and everything is the same thing. You're going to get to see the real Teresa. I'm a real happy person. When my sister-in-law is not around, you guys don't realize how happy I am. Remember Lucy and Ethel? Remember me and Jacqueline? Remember how fun it was? Remember how lighthearted I am and like I'm kooky and I'm like ingredients is and sprinkle cookies. Well, that was with Melissa, but ingredients is, and that's what she's been saying for over a decade now. So, I am happy, wonderful, well-adjusted Teresa without my sister-in-law. And on the villains, you guys are going to see a whole different Teresa. She said this in interviews. You're gonna see a whole different Teresa because the sister-in-law isn't there. And on the podcast, you're gonna get to know the real Teresa. What is it called? Flipping the tables, turning the tables, whatever it's called. And we're gonna get to see that because there's no sister-in-law. So that's what she's been telling us. Now we'll get into whether we believe that or not. We'll get into that, but that's what she's been telling us. So the same way we didn't know what to do. And we brought everybody back, even though I was certain Melissa was going, because I'm like, it's not going to be Teresa because she'll never be fired, which we're going to get into whether I still believe that. I think that they are going to, why not? Why not bring back Teresa? If she's that much of the one we'll never fire, and she's so insistent that she's so lighthearted, and it's a whole different Teresa without Melissa, why not give it one chance? Like, okay, let's see a season of Teresa without Melissa and see how lighthearted you really are. I'm not saying this plan is going to work. I'm not saying it's going to be a great season. But I think just like if we got rid of Melissa, like we've never really had a season where Melissa and Teresa weren't speaking at all. Yes, we had her not speaking to Kathy and Jacqueline and then did this and that. And we've had that, but we've never had. So why not just try to see if her and Teresa not speaking works, right? Because we want to keep both. Like, so we tried it, and I understand bringing Melissa back, you might as well bring everybody back. But that's how we got here. So now I think we're at the point where if I'm saying they're never going to fire Teresa, which I'm hedging on, but why not see a season? Why not see Teresa without Melissa? Now, I know you could say, why not see Melissa without Teresa? And we'll get into that too. We have a lot to get into, guys. A lot. But, and look, I think that Melissa will be in, I mean, there's no more girls trip. She can't go